No, release the semen in your balls before the show.
Next comic, give it loud for everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're gonna have the next comic. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
Why, hello everybody! Welcome to an Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne. And I'm here today with my co-host, Wayne Russell. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. This is an episode of Mike Talk, where we are going to discuss today how we prepare for a booked show. So because we did one and we prepared for it, we figured never did that before, so let's fucking talk about it, right? So we have a couple shows coming up that we want you guys to go to as well, right, Wayne?
Yeah, so we're both on them. So February 22nd, I believe it is, in Amesbury, Massachusetts at Fortune Bar. We're doing a show there. It's a free show. I think it's at 8 o'clock, I believe. And then the following week on March 1st in Londonderry at O'Shea's Cafe. That one starts at 7:30, I believe. We'll be doing that one as well together.
Was that one's free too, right?
As far as I know, yeah, that one's free. That one's free as well. Yep.
Double freeze. Look at you guys. You don't even have to pay to see these tits. But so there are free tickets. So you gotta I don't know if you gotta get the tickets for Fortune Bar, but there are free tickets to sign up for, and we'll put it in the description of the show. So click on those and get your free thing. Kind of feels like buying air. It's free.
It's free. I'm not sure how the tickets come into play, but they are free tickets. So maybe it's like a souvenir. Print it out and be like, hey, I fucking saw Wayne and Anthony at a free show. I'm going to put this on my fridge, put a star on it, and just look at it from time to time.
Exactly. Maybe pay tribute to it like they do on the videos online. Do you know what that means, Wayne?
I've not seen those.
So do you know what that means, pay tribute?
No.
So if you guys were wondering how long it was going to take in this podcast for me to get extremely vulgar, is right now. So if you are on a porn website and you see a tribute video, what it is people will print out a picture of somebody that they really like, but that might not be a porn star most of the time. Sometimes it's also porn stars, which doesn't make sense to me because you can see them get tributed all the time, but you'll see what I mean. So let's say it's like Danica Patrick, former NASCAR driver, totally awesome. Love that girl. Tribute worthy for sure. They'll take out a picture of her and they will jizz on top of it. And that is called a tribute. And that is how they do that. Sometimes like a bunch of people will tribune on for a tribute to there, but that's what it's called.
I think we just found our next top 5 consensus.
Tributes. Yeah, they do everything. So, I mean, you could find there's your face on there somewhere getting tributed on. You can't escape it.
Oh, man. That sounds like a good time.
It does. I don't know why I brought that up.
Oh. So, a couple shows ago, when we were talking about the couple shows we did for Delusional, we kind of touched upon the way you got ready for that show. It was a 10-minute set for you. You kind of took it in little sections, like you did like a ABC, then you did like BCD, then CDE, and kind of put it all together that way. Similar sets, one's 7, one's 10 for the next couple coming up. So yeah, I mean, we thought this would be a good chance to talk about that process a little more in depth. So I guess my first question for you is how did you go about, or how are you going about now after just coming off that 10-minute set? How are you going about now picking the material that you're going to do? Are you going to do the same 10? Or are you going to like mix it up a bit? Because I know we've kind of been kicking around new stuff a little bit.
Yeah, in my head I was like, you got the 10 in the register that did great at Delusional, so maybe just do that for O'Shea's because it's a completely different area. And I'm sure that it would do good, but you're right. We have gotten some new material in. I'm really excited about. I got one about it's birthday sex. The difference between birthday sex when you're married, and the difference between birthday sex when you're just dating somebody and you're young. And I really like that joke. I haven't tried it out elsewhere, so I've created a roadmap to the shows. Basically, I think is interesting because we've been doing for a little while now. We plan out our mics a little bit further in advance because some of them are booked, and that allows us to plan easier for these shows. So, for instance, this week, which is the week of Valentine's Day, we know that Valentine's Day we're not going to be able to go out. So this is kind of our last week of, not show preparation. I'm going to go out probably Tuesday and Thursday this week, because I can't go Wednesday, and I will do new stuff for sure, and I'll do a couple of the bits that I'm not 100% on in that 10 minutes just to iron them up. Now, next week is the important week, because that's show week. That's really where we're going to have our first one, which is the Fortune Bar. So Monday, I think I'm going to go to One Broadway Collaborative. One, because Max runs One Broadway along with One Broadway and that crew. And he's also doing the Fortune Bar show, so it'd be good to do it in front of him so he sees the material and all that kind of stuff. But also, 7 minutes and 7 minutes. Perfect. If you're going to do a show, if you can find a place that will let you do the exact same amount of time, obviously ideal. It merely makes it come out smooth. So I know I'm going to do that Monday. No, I'm sorry. Monday we're in Seabrook. Fuck. Yeah, hopefully. Do you know how much time we're doing in Seabrook?
I'll be there 5 minutes out.
All right, well. Fuck everything I just said, but Seabrook, I'm going to be there Monday. Tuesday.
The theory is sound.
The theory's sound, but I'm wrong. So, but we're already booked there, and that one's got reels and feels and deals. We're going to be in
reels
Seabrook.
and no reels.
Reel on reels. That's it. Tuesday, I'm at the Point. So the Point, I'm going to try to, because I haven't been there in a little while, I'm going to try to make it a little tighter. So I'll do the first 5 minutes of the 7 minutes, just exactly where those ones go. I'll leave off my closer, California Sober or something, because I don't need to do that again. And then that will bring us to the show, I believe, right? The show is Friday? Or Thursday?
The show next week is on Thursday.
Thursday, yep. So there you go. So those ones. So I'll be booked a couple places just to get my preparation in, but that is 4 sets to get ready for 7 minutes, which I think will be just what we need. How about you? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of touch upon what you said, we were kind of chatting behind the scenes a little bit, where I was kind of playing around with what I wanted to do on these 2 sets, and I pulled out one of my older jokes that I haven't done in a while, Dad's Old Porn, and just driving around in the car, I did it just like a little practice run, and it's amazing this far out how it still flowed. And I did that last week at Barcode in Manchester, and it was a little clunky, just in the moment. But it was also kind of a weird one. That was a weird mic. There wasn't a lot of generous patrons when it comes to laughs, as many of the comics commented on. So it was a little clunky, but it's really interesting going back to those old things and just realizing how ingrained in your head they are that you can just pull them out and just remember the nuances and the words for it.
Yeah, I do remember talking about that because I felt the same way for Anal Equity when I did that, and I was getting ready for the Stark show, and I hadn't done it in like 2 to 3 months because I was just working on new shit past then, and I was like, well, it's 10 minutes, I'm going to have to throw that in there. And I knew the whole time, I don't know why, but I just knew, because I didn't run it in my head or anything, I just knew I was going to do the joke, and I wrote it down. And I said, like, don't need to practice that. That was just in my head. I was like, I know that that's going to come out smooth. And, like, the first time I ran it, it came out exactly, like, the way I wanted it to come out. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
It's just, I've said it a lot.
Yeah, it feels good when that happens. For me, in terms of mics, though, I can't do Tuesdays at the moment. Obviously, Wednesday, like you said, is Valentine's Day. So this week, I think I'm doing. I'm going to try to do Thursday night. I'm going to try to go up to Strange Brew, I think.
Oh, someone will join you. The return.
I hope so. There's not much going on Fridays. Not much, obviously, on Saturdays. Sunday, that might be something I think about this week, if I can. My wife is back in school. She's doing midterms and all that stuff at the moment. So we'll see what Monday brings, but there are a couple decent mics not too far away on Sundays.
Yeah, there's that new one. Do you remember the name of it in Boston? That is it a brewery?
In Haverhill?
In Haverhill?
Oh. In Boston?
Yeah.
Lucky Strikes?
No, that's on Monday, I think. But no, there's a new one on Sunday that's at a brewing place, that brewery? I should say that. That looks...
Brewery?
Yeah, and it looks interesting. Maybe that'd be a good one to check out.
I might have missed that.
Yeah, the guy...
But Sundays, I feel like, is a good day to potentially, in this area, double up.
Yeah.
Because you have Jacques, you have Donahue's, you have that one you're just talking of. There's one in Haverhill. So I mean, if you get out early enough, and you can get on someplace early enough, and not that I'm one to want to get up and leave, but if you're trying to make the most of your time and get some reps in, that's the time to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I would... if I were you, for instance, like where I couldn't do next Tuesday either, there's all kinds of, including I think maybe Hollow Ground might have a mic or something like that too, and that's a 7-minute one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on Wednesday, yeah. But yeah, so I might do something on Sunday. I haven't really put that much thought into it. Monday, obviously, like we said, we're doing Grill 17. Tuesday, once again, nothing for me. Wednesday. I considered Wednesday maybe going to 6:03 because it's a late mic, 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I can get there and just kind of fuck around and just get the cobwebs out on what I want to do.
Yeah, I do feel comfortable in that place in 6:03. Like even on the days that we go and it's just absolute nothing in there. I don't know. I'm never. Sometimes when it's empty, you feel the patrons that are there are mad at you for being there and wasting their time when they're just trying to drink. And they're like, dude, it's not working. And you can feel like the hate coming off you. And I never feel that there.
Yeah.
I feel people not paying attention. But it's never like a negative thing that I'm like, yeah, no, the stage is great. I like the room a lot. Someone's always
the interesting thing about that room is the comics that go don't, and it's the same comics we see, but when you're in that room, for some reason, the comics are not sitting at the bar talking. They're actually sitting there and paying attention.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I wish they could. I want to go there on a good night where the patrons come out to the middle where the seating is and sit there, because there's not many times where I've seen that. It's mostly just the comics sit there and then the patrons sit at the bar.
Yeah.
But yeah, my point to that was I think the perfect Wednesday now seems to be Hollowed Ground into something like that, because you can totally do both of them, seeing as Allie will put you on whenever you want. So if you want to go up at 7 at Hollowed Ground, you'd be able to do that and have plenty of time to get over there. So I really like, even off the topic of preparing for a show, that is a really cool step that we've gotten to in doing the mics, is that they don't really feel as random anymore. Like I remember when we first started, it was like like we would just pick a list and throw a dart at it, basically. Like, where are we going today? And I feel like now we have open mics, booked shows, semi-booked mics, all that planned out now for the next. You have one, book show in April Fools.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. So that far out. So that's cool.
Yeah. I think at the beginning you kind of have to do that. You kind of have to go and see what's out there and how you like them and how
so many people don't do
the
that.
Atmosphere is and all that stuff.
Yeah. Almost every comic we talk to goes to like 2 mics. These are the 2 mics that they frequent. And then, they get book shows all over the place after that and stuff like that. But, look at Beautiful Dan Cronin. 603 in Strange Brew. And, yeah, I mean, everything in Manchester basically stays in Manchester. And he does great, So there are ways to cut the pie. I think we're nomads. We're weird. We travel. We're all over the place. I have no choice.
Yeah, people seem to be pretty taken aback when they find out how far we travel to do some of these mics.
Think about the Lowell guys. I mean, the Lowell guys are basically, when you look at it, they're almost always in Lowell. Maybe they'll come to Manchester for a show just to screw around, or Salem. But we're like Portland down to Watertown down to Jamaica Plain. We're gonna go everywhere in between that we can. I wonder, that is why I'm interested in the Seabrook mic. I wonder what that's going to draw for the comics.
Yeah, that is an interesting thought.
I'm like imagine it's going to be the Winter Circle crew. The people that tend to frequent there.
I would think that as well. I think that, yeah. I don't think you'll see a ton of the safe people there or a ton of the Manchester people. I bet you're going to see more of like the Salem people for some reason. I feel like that's a thing, but
yeah, I bet.
Seems to be garnering a lot of attention, so you'll probably see a nice mix.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. It's a different show. I like that. So what do you use to determine the jokes you're going to do for these two shows? Are you going like best 7, best 10, or do you have strategy based on the venues?
I would like to say I'm just going to do my best 7 and best 10, but I have some stuff that's kind of newer that's done all right when I tried it that I think I'm going to sprinkle in. I want to do a lot of my heavy hitters that I know generally get a laugh, but I like to sprinkle in some of the newer things too and see how it does in front of a real crowd. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick a couple jokes and maybe it's 1 and 1, or maybe I do a couple shorter ones in one and a couple shorter ones in another, and just kind of see how they do. I don't want to get pigeonholed into doing the same 7-10 minutes every time I do a book show just because I know it's going to be good and look good for whoever's running the show. Obviously, I want to look good and be funny, but I can do that and still have a couple flops, small flops. I'm not going to do like a 4-minute joke that's going to be to silence and then 3 minutes of like, hey, that was really good, right? But I do want to throw some new stuff in there and see how a real crowd reacts to it.
It's true, because you really never know a joke until you do that in front of a real crowd. That's why I'm so envious of the guys who do multiple book shows in front of real audiences a week. Because, that those guys are, like, they have to try new stuff in front of real crowds. I mean, they still go to open mics and stuff, too, but they do new stuff in front of real crowds because they're doing shows every week. And that must get your jokes tighter so much quicker because you can just throw out the fat pretty quickly. Like, sometimes...
Yeah,
we'll do a joke and it'll be to silence, and afterwards I'll be like, I still know that's good, and I'm not giving up to try it somewhere else. Or I bet in front of a good book crowd, you can be like, okay, that was not good. You can work your way out of it.
Yeah, last time we went to 603, I decided to take I think it was a slow day, so Beautiful Dan was hosting. He said we can kind of do whatever we want, and I did. Little over 6 minutes of 2 new joke ideas, and I was just throwing every idea I had of those jokes out. And listening back, I'm like, yep, I can cut that one in like 2/3. So I have like a third, I have like 1 minute there and like a minute and a half over here. And it was nice to be able to do that. And I don't know if you feel this, but when you can write stuff out and you can practice it and you're like, that's good. And then when you're on stage and you're saying it and you're looking at somebody's face and you're like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that at all. That's a humbling feeling.
It is. That's why I stopped. Like, I write out the stuff, but I really nowadays I almost don't. Like, I was sending you guys in the group chat is as far as I write down full out flesh stuff until I try it for the first time. I want to keep it more vague, where I'm like, hey, here's the idea, like the plow fields thing. Like, I know where I'm going with it. And where it needs to be. Sorry, I don't know why I said plow fields. I mean the birthday sex one. That, like, I know where that's going, and I got an idea of where I'm going to be, but I'm going to kind of feel out how it goes on stage. That's how I did the Mormon joke at 603. It was new, and I was like, let me fuck around with it. And it doesn't the first time yield perfect results, but you at least feel the beats of where it's supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta know when you try new shit the first time that it's gonna be clunky. I have a really hard time ever getting out, and I think I'm really good at that. Like, that's one of my skills, is getting new stuff to assimilate into old stuff, and you can tell.
Yeah,
like I did Book and Bar.
You definitely can tell when somebody is not familiar.
Yeah, I did Book and Bar right after the book show, and I did 10 minutes at the book show and of the good stuff. And I went to Book and Bar, and I was like, I want to try a new joke. And I did. I was like, I'll put some of the stuff from the show in the beginning, and I'll do the new stuff afterwards. And you can, like, it's like changing the television channel when I get to the new stuff. Like, I'm so confident and, like, on time, and, like, you're gonna laugh at this, you're gonna laugh at that, woo, 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 woo. And then I get to the new stuff, and I'm like looking at the ground, I'm thinking about it really hard, big pauses in between my punches, and yeah, I don't know how you get around that.
I think that kind of we were having a conversation with somebody a week or two ago about changing like your persona. Like really, we were talking to Mike Katrovas about that, about knowing your character and getting on stage, and that's your character. And I said, I kind of am starting to feel that, like especially if I know I'm going up and I'm doing material I'm comfortable with. It's like a switch flips when you get up there. It's just like you're up there, and like boom, I'm Wayne the comic now. I'm not Wayne the blob or whatever I am. But something flips when you're really confident, and yeah,
I haven't felt that yet. I saw Mike go into character when he was explaining that, which I said in the last podcast, which is top 5 most impressive things I've actually. No, I didn't say it in the last podcast because it hasn't come up. Mike told us at a show after he did it kind of what it means to find your voice to him, which was to know what your character is. And as he was describing that, his voice kind of broke up a little bit, and which is what he does on stage. And I watched him get into character as he was saying that, and I think he did it subconsciously because it was so smooth that I don't think he knew he was doing that. And I was like, God damn, that's a guy who's got his character down. And then I realized I don't ever, what I think about before I go on stage? I go, who's out there for the crowd? I look in the directions of where I'm going to look. I look at the reactions of the people that are going up and the jokes that are working and are not working. And then I try to make sure if I got to change something, I change something. But man, thinking about all right, you are this, you need to do this. I never have. It's almost like I'm running from a tiger. I don't have those thoughts. Just got to survive.
Oh man. Do you have any this is kind of hard to say because we've only had really one truly booked show, but anything you do, we'll make it generalized. Anything you do before a mic that kind of pumps you up and gets you in the zone?
Yeah, so when I'm in the car to the show, I want to run the set audibly, and I want it to go smooth. So I got to do it until that happens, whether it's once. It doesn't really take more than 3 times, or else I shouldn't be doing that stuff because it probably is a little bit too rusty. But I just go, all right, here, talk it out, make sure that you know your punches, where everything goes. And once I do that, I'm like, reward yourself now. So in the car, I will, it's almost like, you did the homework and you're ready to just get ready for the test. So then I'll just work on getting my, my adrenaline up. So I'll listen to a podcast first, usually a comedy one, something to just get the funny going where I'm laughing a little bit. And then I'll go into music, and then I'll start off with melodical stuff. I'm listening to this card. It's called Tarot Cards by Saturdays at Your Place. That's the name of it. Out there, listen. This is a really small band, guys. I looked up their YouTube. They have 900 views on one of them. I don't know how I found their song, but it's so good. It's so good, and it's helping me before the shows because it's very melodical and on time, and I feel like that's very good for you to stay on your joke rhythm, is to listen to music like that. And then the last thing I'll do right before I get there, about 10 minutes out, is I turn on the really heavy shit. Some nice alternative rock that will be, get your head bobbing, get you ready to go. We're going to say Beautiful Dan 10 times today because we love him so much, but he also does it with music, I think, too, and he listens to fucking gangster rap, which is so funny.
I love that.
Pumped him up so bad. I would love to see Dan drive through Compton in a fucking convertible pumping music. He's just fucking. Love Dan. Okay, so what about you?
Yeah, it kind of varies. I practice same thing. I drive around a lot, so if I know I'm going to a mic that night, I'll kind of do that part of it while I'm driving around for work. On the way there, yeah, I have a few different artists I might pop on. Usually something a little more bass heavy or little more upbeat, just to kind of get the blood flowing a little bit. But
To his penis.
I really don't have
To his
much
penis,
of a
folks.
ritual. What's up? Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have like a set thing, but I do like to get pumped up a little bit.
Yeah, and then we get in and I sit in a chair and I smoke a bunch of weed and I get down again. So it would be nice if
That's the problem though, is like let's say we're going to the safe and I'm like all pumped up and I park in the Joseph Downs lot. It's like I'm ready to fucking go. And then I get out, and by the time I get down to the bottom where I'm walking towards the safe, it's fucking cold. I'm like cutting glass. I'm just like, this fucking sucks. And like all of my energy just drops and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, and I have a real big problem of paying too much. I said it before, but I pay way too much attention to the person who's on before I go up. Like, I don't know why. I think like I should be paying more attention to the people like in the beginning, in the middle, and then in the end. Like not right around where I'm going to go up. But for some reason, I lock in and don't think about myself when the person before me's up, and I'll just be listening to their jokes. Like, oh, that's hilarious, because I'll be standing in the side and all that, and I'll just be watching. So sometimes I'll go up pretty unprepared in the sense of it's. I don't know if you've ever felt this way where you go up there and you don't know your first words for a second because you're just like, oh, where am I? Because you're just not thinking that you're doing it. It's almost like you're getting pushed in a conveyor belt in the direction you're going, and you don't even know you're going there. Because it is a little nerve wracking before you go up sometimes.
I don't get that when I get on stage. I'm quite the opposite. Like I have a hard time paying attention because when people are on stage talking, I have a hard time thinking about what the first couple words are. But for me, those first couple words are like when you're trying to start a lawnmower. You know, it's like, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah.
My name is Wayne Russell. Like, it's like, oh. And then once you get it, I'm like, all right, there we go. And it's just like a bum, 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 bum. So once I get up there, it just flows. But before that, I'm like, I can't remember the first fucking syllable. Because I'm paying attention to the people on the stage, and that is where my nerves really like get shot.
Well, I always want to ad lib because improv in the beginning. So that hurts me too because I'm always trying to think when I'm on the side of the stage. I'm like, oh, what can I say about this place before I go up there? Because I did notice that a lot of good comics that I like, Shane Gillis, Louis C.K., all of those, I've seen a lot of their live performances. They start out by shitting on the venue in the city. I don't know why, but it really gets the crowd going.
That was something I was told not to do. I guess that's, you know, I guess if you're staying more local, but you don't want to go up and just like shit on the place because then the owner's gonna be like, "Fuck this guy, I don't want him back."
Yeah, it's different. You gotta do it funny.
The only exception is 603. I did spend about 2 or 3 minutes one time just shitting on the bathrooms because there's a toilet on one side, a toilet on the other, urinals in between, and no walls. So, I mean, how many Blue Moons do I have to buy to get a fucking tarp put up so I can shit in peace? I don't know. But that was my only exception. But, yeah, that was somebody told me that one time. Like, don't shit on the venue because you don't want the owners or the management to not like you.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But then you're like, Louis? He's the greatest. He had a joke I remember I saw it twice, and he did it in 2 different venues, and I was like, oh, he does pre-write these things, because it sounded like improv in the beginning, but he said basically, like, it's nice to be in the nicest thing within hundreds of miles of this place. He's like, we're staying in the night, like, because we're in Lowell. He's like, we're in the nicest place for a lot of ways away from here. So he was shitting on the city of Lowell, and I do like that. I do like that style of comedy.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think when you get a nice roast of a place like that, like it has to be like cookie cutter in some places. You're like, oh yeah, I could use that in Philadelphia too, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I the other day it's not cookie cutter anywhere else because it's so unique. But I did Ginger Cajun, which is in Salem, hosted by Ali DF, the greatest, and that mic is so unique because where you start performing, the bar is right in the center of you, and then you have one side of the room on one side of the bar, and you have the other side of the room on the other side of the bar, and it feels like playing 2 different rooms completely because they can't see each other basically. So and you can't see a lot of the people who are sitting too because the bar constricts it. So I said, this place is really hard to do, and I can't help, because you guys are so separate, wanting to segregate you. But I don't mean, I'm saying it means separate by race. Like, I want the whites over here. And it was a good little improv in the beginning. And there was, there were these albino looking people. I hope they're not listening, because they're not albino, but you're white as fuck. I don't care. You're blonde haired, blue eyes. That's albino to me. That's as deep as it gets. Aryan. They were Aryan. And, I said that joke, and they were like, I said whites over here, and they were like, ultra whites over here. And I was like, yes. So it was a nice little, they knew how white they were. It was a nice little, and I really liked it because it was, I made it a cascading joke a little bit. So I said that, I was like, whites over here. And I went, I'm just kidding. You're all white. And that's another part of it. And then the last thing I went was, whew, am I right? Just like, thank God we're all white, was the final part of the joke to it. So there was a lot of, I wanted to see because that was a terrible thing to say in the beginning of your set. Like, I want to segregate all of you. I want to separate the whites. Just kidding. We're all whites. Thank God we're all whites. That's a tough way to start your set and still go. And I think it actually worked. Like, I think that got everybody going, all right, this isn't just like someone going up there staring at their shoes saying what's next. I was really trying to, like, all right, this is different. I'm going to be different. And then I did silly jokes. So that was fun. That was like not a great, I was the last one up, not a lot of crowd there. But if you just go up and you start talking about the dark, dark alleys of Lawrence and what bodily fluids end up on you, it's always fun.
This is not really like on topic, but you do have a couple jokes about specific locations. How do you feel those go over? So you did that joke about Lawrence in Salem last night. Do people know where Lawrence was? I know there was a couple people there that are pretty close to Lawrence, but
yeah, I mean,
in general, were the people from Salem like, I know Lawrence, Massachusetts?
No, I don't think so. But it's on purpose, because I try to make the location of the joke not paramount to the joke. I mean, you could say, like, you don't need to know Lawrence to understand the joke I'm saying. I more try to say that, like, this is a not a great city, and that's why I describe barber shops and pizza places before I get to where I get to in it. So I'm trying to invoke the dunginess of the city when I go into it, because there are some places that aren't going to know Lawrence. So I do consciously think about that. Like if Dobie Maxwell's listening, or if our boy from England Alfie's listening, they're not going to know what that place is. So but it's still, joke should hold up.
Yeah,
because I'm getting jism done.
Oh man. So I don't have too much more on this topic. How about you? Do you have any other little things you do, or secrets, or whatever that you want to bring to light?
No, release the semen in your balls before the show.
That is a big one.
Yeah. Release them. They are held captive, and it's a sin to keep it inside. Did you know that? It's a sin.
Is that a sin?
Yeah. You're supposed to do it into an altar boy. That's our show. Good night, everybody.